Wrestling fans, don't you dare be sour. Clap for your world famous nine-time podcasters and feel the power. Ooh. Welcome to the Frustrated Wrestling Fan. I'm pretty sure this is episode 10, right? Last time was 9. So
let's say it is.
Yeah.
It sounds accurate.
Welcome to the show. I feel like that was an extra energetic one this week.
Yeah, I know. I was worried that you may have hurt your voice.
Yeah, I mean it's number 10, so you gotta do it big. I'm your host, Zach Hughes, the black dude with bad news, and I'm welcoming my co-host, the wrestling watchman, Tony Hoffman.
Hey, I'm lurking behind you like Donald Trump
at the debate. I saw a little bit of that on SNL, their parody of it with the Jaws music included. There's a nice touch on it. Yeah. And, God damn it. This, I really could turn this into the presidential, election podcast, but I want to hit on that a little bit.
Yeah, we'll be the 1 billionth people to take on the.
Yeah, everybody's got their hot take. This election gets crazier and crazier as the days go on. And
like, I didn't see the cold open for SNL last night, but it's like, how can you like satirize like something that's so ridiculous?
The thing is, they really just
do exactly what happened
from the headlines, as Law and Order used to say, "Rip from the headlines." So a lot of it was really just
presented the way that
slightly traumatized reinterpretations of what happened. But even like what Trump said following the debate was even crazier than the parody. It's like, during the debate, Hillary walked in front of me and I wasn't impressed. I was like, what?
What are her behind? Was she at her ass or something? He said that at some rally.
Yeah.
Like what the?
I wasn't impressed. Like, would you say this if you were debating Obama? Like, Obama's ass wasn't that.
That would be a lie anyway, because he works out.
Yeah, you missed leg day, I guess. But it's really. Yeah.
I mean, he's playing to his base. I guess they like to hear that that anti-Hillary, crap. I guess.
But I mean, people are abandoning ship, so maybe there's a slight bit of hope for humanity.
He had a critique of last night's SNL on Twitter.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, he said what's a slam job against them. That's they're all out to get him, and then Alec Baldwin's portrayal of him is inaccurate, and blah 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 blah. Pretty much what you would expect.
Of course. I guess he must have really been a fan of Daryl Hammond, because I don't think he's ever come out against that version. Like, bring back Daryl Hammond. He was my guy. I heard a couple of people on the Metro yesterday talking about this conspiracy against Trump.
God, I remember when I was in like the locker room at the gym earlier this week, like listening to these people talk about fucking Trump. Well, my parents, they're hard Republicans. They're going to vote for whoever Republican is. It doesn't matter who it is. I'm like, oh God, I don't want to hear. I just want to change.
Yeah,
my clothes.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of here.
Like, what happened to the old days of locker room problems? It's like, why can't you just pull your dick out and swing it around?
Pull your dick out, talk about grabbing pussy or whatever.
All this Trump talk is too intimate. It's like, I'd rather see an old guy just hanging dong instead of hearing him talk about Trump.
Yeah, Don't remind me.
Yeah, we had a couple incidents of locker room talk in WWE this week, but I'll get to those. But yeah, these guys on the Metro in front of me were like, it's a liberal cabal. It was like,
what the fuck?
It's a conspiracy. But
I have like very little use for people who believe in like conspiracies and fucking rigged and like the Illuminati and all.
I believe in conspiracies in the sense that is the government being run by people we don't know about and who have group meetings that we are unaware of as a public? Yes, that's true. That's called government.
Exactly.
But yeah,
we can assume that they're looking out for our better interests.
Generally.
Yeah.
I guess unless you live in Flint, Michigan, then you can have some of those further out conspiracies when you're literally being poisoned. But this is a wrestling podcast, so let's get into some wrestling talk.
There are no conspiracies in the WWE.
Oh, there's a few. There might be a couple we talk about today, but we'll get to that. So let's start out with the wrestling news this week. Week.
Nice. See that Bret Hart has he's apologized online to all of the people that he's talked shit about lately, namely
Does
Seth
he have
Rollins.
a list like Chris Jericho?
You're on the list. Seth Rollins, like he apologized. I think it was on like Facebook. He apologized, like talking shit about him, about how he injures wrestlers and Triple H, and I think lately he said something about Michael Hayes, because Hayes came out against him.
I guess he's probably
Twitter.
looking for a comeback or something. There's a reason for this apology.
And I think like the most interesting thing that he said was that he said that podcasts like breed negativity or something like that.
I mean, it's true. You have to feel content, and I
Exactly.
definitely feel that urge right about now.
Yeah, but we're not negative, are we?
The first word in our podcast title was frustrated, so I think that's the kind of
That is
colors
true. That is very
everything.
true. I stand corrected. One of the bigger news stories of the week is this whole TNA cell fuck up cluster shit.
So what's the newest bad news?
The president and minority owner of TNA, Billy Corrigan of Smashing Pumpkins fame, Mr. Baldy, is suing Dixie Carter, the owner, the majority owner, because of the whole sale fuck up that's happening with like the apparently they're having like huge financial issues and stuff, and people are kind of blaming her for like what's happening with like. I think it's the WWE and like a couple of other people that have like put in bids to like buy the TNA, but like they're all falling apart. So now I guess he's getting kind of frustrated.
Yeah, because that was the thing when she gave her, I guess, state of the company address backstage a couple weeks back, or state of the dumpster fire, as I would call it. She said that there was an option to sell to WWE, but she basically said she refused, which is a really dumb thing to do at this point, because it's like, you're not going to save this. This ship is sinking.
No.
You either lose it all.
And like the talent I had heard, I was like getting upset and shit.
That's why half of them are now in NXT. So, they either are going to just fall apart and disappear completely, or maybe there's some chance they'll live on the network. But
we shall see.
Yeah.
We shall see. Pictures circulating around of the Undertaker using crutches that are a little concerning. The Undertaker has been wrestling in several forms since 1984, so you could imagine the toll it's taken on his body, especially for a guy that's like 7 feet tall and as big as he is.
And you can't teach that.
No, and you can't teach
that. But so I guess people are worried about his potential return, but he does not need to return anymore.
Exactly, but the WrestleMania thing, that's usually like his once a year appearance at this point.
But it's like the streak is over, so it's not really necessary anymore. It's like,
hey, look at Kane. I mean, he still goes out there for some reason.
Yeah, and that's also something we need to take care of.
Yeah.
Hopefully when the Wyatts derped him out of existence at the end of SmackDown, that's like writing him off for good, like he doesn't exist anymore. That would be really cool. But we'll get to that.
We will get to that.
Yeah.
And one more thing, Perry Saturn. Were you a fan of Mr. Perry Saturn?
Yeah, I used to like him a lot when I go way back with Perry Saturn. I used to like him when he was in Raven's Flock in WCW.
Raven's Flock.
Yeah, he was a more grungy, realistic character. When WWE bought WCW, they turned him into a special needs person who walked around with a mop. I wasn't as much of a fan of that character.
Not very grungy.
Perry Saturn and Moppy, but yeah. I liked Saturn for a while.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, Perry has had some medical issues recently, some very serious brain issues that have come up due to his years and years of wrestling. He and his wife have started a GoFundMe account to raise
his
money.
His wife, Moppy.
Yeah, good Moppy. Moppy has nice hair, very stringy.
Mm-hmm.
They've started a GoFundMe account to pay some of his medical expenses, like MRIs and stuff, because he's having some like issues with memory loss and like his motor skills, and it doesn't sound very good for Perry. Can't work to get money, and his wife is pretty much a full-time caregiver at this point, so it's kind of sad. So
yeah,
if you like Perry Saturn, go to his GoFundMe and give.
Yeah, there's been a few too many incidents of wrestlers really going that extra mile to live out the gimmick, like Jamie Noble getting stabbed in a trailer park, and Perry Saturn actually injuring his brain after playing someone with brain injury on TV. You guys got to stop taking this so serious.
Or are you implying that they're doing this on purpose? That they're going deep into the kayfabe?
Yeah, it's still real to me. Damn it! They got to stop living it so hard.
Yeah, man. What devotion, man.
Yeah. It only goes so far, guys. Anyways, that it for the news this week.
There is the whole Paige issue. Her second suspension for the performance policy or whatever it is.
She is at strike 2
wellness
of 3.
Policy.
Yeah, the first strike is 30-day suspension. Second is 60
day,
which is where she is now. Third strike is you're fired.
Yeah, you're fired. Yeah, it's getting pretty dirty now. Yeah, it's they're publicly, she's publicly slamming the WWE, saying that it wasn't, it wasn't illegal substances. It was some prescription medicine for her neck injury, and her brother Del Rio's getting involved. And
it's getting pretty nasty on both sides, because I think WWE put out that it was for recreational drugs.
They came out.
Goddamn. I think they're really drawing their line, and I don't think there's going to be any reconciliation for the two parties after this.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. But, that's what happens sometimes. Anyways, let's get
Want to talk about No Mercy for a little bit?
Yeah, let's talk about WWE No Mercy.
No Mercy.
All right, I'm just going to talk about this quickly because it's over a week old now.
I did not see the kickoff match. I'll just be upfront.
You're not alone in that. I did not either. We could just skip it altogether. So the biggest news about No Mercy was that it was announced earlier that day that the main event of the show, the WWE World Championship match, was going to open the show because there was a lot of competition from. There was Sunday Night Football, and there was the presidential debates.
There was something on the Food Channel and the Animal Planet.
Everybody was putting out their best. I think
stiff competition.
Yeah, Westworld was probably on at that time.
Something on PBS.
Yeah, I'm sure there was a Masterpiece Theater series. But they decided to start out with their big guns, and this three-way match for the championship was probably the best match on the show, just to start out.
More than the Ziggler Miz match?
There was probably more storyline excitement, and there were more stakes in that match, obviously.
More
which
emotion.
which was why it should have been the main event, which it wasn't. The de facto main event. It should have ended the show, but it didn't get that spot. But this first match was cool. There was a lot of back and forth. I like how the double tap out spot. It was interesting.
Yeah, like what are the rules of that? I thought that like, even though I thought that like AJ like should have been like eliminated
from the match,
and then like Ambrose and Cena, wrestle for the title.
But apparently there's precedent for this decision made by the referee was Mike Chioda. He was in this same scenario a few years back, and I believe it was John Cena, Triple H, and I can't remember who the third person was.
Let's say Shawn Michaels.
Possibly. I don't think they would have put Shawn Michaels in, because the move was, there was, I think Triple H had, no, I think it was Jericho actually. So I think Triple H had Jericho he put him in a sharpshooter, and Cena came and put the crossface on the other side, and, he tapped out, but, the same referee
gets the tap out, yeah.
The same referee was here. He said to ring the bell, but then he looked really confused. He was like, well, who do I give it to? And then he decided to let the match continue, because there are no eliminations. It has not been established as an elimination match. There's one winner, and it couldn't be decided by a double submission, so he let the match continue. So that set the precedent. So I like that they actually followed up with that. This was the same referee who made that decision some years back, and he was more confident about it this time. He didn't look confused. He was just like, the match continues. So they already established that this is how it goes. So I like that decision on their part. And some people were upset that AJ used a chair to win the match after that, but it's like, it makes perfect sense for AJ as the heel champion to use the chair, especially after the fact that he literally almost lost his championship in that same match. It's like, oh, well, I don't give a fuck what I do. I have to win
all
this
bets
match.
Are off.
It's like, I have to win this match. They're double teaming me, so I have to use whatever advantage I can. So I like that ending for the match. I think, what was directly after this? Because I think my list is a little bit out of order.
I think it was the tag.
It might have been. So it was Heath Slater and Rhino versus the Usos. There wasn't much to speak of. I thought the Usos were going to win this one, but they didn't. And I think that makes it a little bit weird for the feud with American Alpha, because it seems like that would be a better feud, or it would benefit from having the tag championships involved. Like,
with your up and coming tag team and the heel.
Trying to beat the heel champions and working their way up from there. But I guess they don't want too many of those similar scenarios, because the world title picture is kind of a similar dynamic. Like, the heels are fighting their way up to beat this dastardly champion. So I guess they don't want the same thing in the tag division.
So where does that leave like Slater and like Rhino? Are they just there just for comic?
They're there for comic relief, but they are sitting on top of the tag division, which is a weird position. But I guess if they weren't tag champs, there wouldn't really be a purpose for them to even be a tag team at all, because I would assume Rhino would just go on his way and be like, okay, I'm going to go back to running for public office. But yeah.
And I think after this, it was like, was it Nikki, Bella, and Carmella, or?
I believe so.
Okay.
So what was the end of this match? Nikki, I think she pulled out the win for this.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Carmella looked pretty strong in this one, though. She found a new way to lock on her code of silence. It was
that complicated fucking thing.
Yeah. Yeah, she's starting to make it look a little bit better, but she still wasn't able to pull it off. But I think they're building up her heel persona a little bit better now, because before it was pure annoyance, but at least they're using it for a purpose now.
And you've talked about it before. It's like she was associated, like her whole getup was associated with Enzo and Cass. So it's like it doesn't make any sense when it's like her out there by herself.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense that she's doing that by herself, and just her delivery of that same material is not good. It is inherently heelish material. It's only responded to well because of how charismatic Enzo and Cass are. So
I just hate that whole look with like the pants and like those knit hats and shit. Like,
I guess it's just proof that women can be wiggers too.
I guess
equal rights. That's about
SummerSlam, the Queen of Staten Island.
Yeah. Don't even get me started. And, okay, we also had another women's match. This
actually ended the show, believe it or not.
Well, I think wasn't Wyatt and Orton at the end?
I think that was like because they couldn't. It wasn't a women's championship match. You may be right though. I think it was either that one or
this was around the middle point maybe. But it was Alexa Bliss came out and she was mad that she couldn't have her championship match.
Becky's hurt.
Yeah. And then it was kind of what I predicted, that Naomi was the one to come out to get that crowd pop, to excite the crowd, but it was still non-title match because
it was just filler.
Yeah, it was announced that that Becky will return to defend her title, but it'll be in Glasgow, Scotland.
Home field.
Yeah, on November 8th.
Kinda.
On Election Day, which is a weird time to have a women's title defense in another country. It's like, are all these female superstars gonna cast absentee ballots because they're not going to be in the country? I'm pretty sure they have a stake in this election.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Yeah, I would assume specifically the women's division would have a stake. Like, I'm with her, or maybe I don't know. I would think maybe Summer Rae is like a Trump supporter secretly.
Why?
She just looked. I don't trust her face. Maybe that's showing my bias. Anyway.
Hey, I follow her on Instagram. She doesn't have any Trumpy vibes. She's always on vacation and like in swimsuits. And
yeah, I've been hearing that she's been on vacation in other countries. It was like
Hong Kong.
Shouldn't she be like on TV? Like, you're going
she's
to all these
injured,
other countries,
quote unquote.
Yeah, it's like world travel is not the first thing I would think of if I was nursing an injury, but whatever. To each their own. I don't remember the order here, but I know they weren't the main event, although they should have been. Miz versus Dolph Ziggler. If Ziggler loses, he must retire.
Air quotes.
Yeah. And I wasn't sure how this was actually going to turn out because I feel like they've gone pretty far with this character. And I was like, I wouldn't.
Yeah, it's like he's been in the. Yeah, I was just looking at that video that the Miz on Miz TV, the whole embarrassing Ziggler stuff, and it's like, well, he's been around for a while, so I wasn't surprised. And he's an actor. You know?
Yeah, plus he's teased it like outside of this storyline. He's teased it like in the past couple of years, like that he was thinking about leaving.
He does stand up, Zach. You know, he's got many career options.
I have not seen his stand up. I also don't have any interest in it. But
you have taste.
So he pulls out the win, so that's interesting.
The crowd loved it.
Yeah, I want to see where they're gonna go with this moving forward. We'll find out. And the main event of the show.
I know you're a little disappointed with some of the things.
I'm disappointed with this entire feud, but the main event of the show was Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt. I don't have anything to say about this match. I was really tuned out. Once again, Randy Orton loses due to surprise interference by returning Wyatt family member Luke Harper.
And he's not solo. He's with
And that's funny. Every time Luke Harper returns, he just shows up in a hoodie. It's like, who's that? And he pulls off the hood, and it's Luke Harper. It's like his return outfit of choice.
The Wyatt family is
they're back.
come back.
The 2-man family. It's always like him and one other guy. Now they alternate injuries, but it seems like there was a thing. Eric Rowan posted online. I think it was on Twitter. There was like video of him burning the sheep mask. So maybe this is indicating that he's not returning to the Wyatt family, although he's supposed to be injured for quite a long time. So I don't think anybody really cares, and they're probably going to rewrite that whole thing anyway, because this is what he did on social media, but that doesn't mean that the company will just change their mind anyway. Like, we don't have anything for you. You're back with them. So that was the end of No Mercy. Show started off great and then pretty much petered out.
And that's pretty much how they planned it, I guess. I mean, they figured no one was going to watch, so
yeah. And I probably shouldn't have either. I was watching.
I was half watching.
Yeah, I was watching No Mercy and the debates at the same time. I had No Mercy on mute.
Yeah, they had a better main event.
Yeah, the debate was a better matchup than this entire show, really. So let's get into Monday Night Raw. All right, it starts off with Sasha Banks. She's out in the ring and she is proposing a Hell in a Cell match for her rematch with Charlotte. Champion challenging her challenger for a Hell in a Cell match.
Challenger.
Yeah.
Challenge.
Yeah, it's interesting because I would just be like,
should be the other way around, right?
Yeah, like, you don't deserve a match with me. Charlotte should be like, I want a Hell in a Cell match, but
yeah, you would want to, like, not put your title
on the line in a match where you could end your career. Yeah, but Sasha's a badass, so that's what she decided to do.
She's the boss.
She wants to show how much of a boss she is. Charlotte then comes out and it's interrupted by Rusev and Lana. I was wondering, like, what is going on with this? Rusev has shaved his mustache, so he looks.
Yeah, he's got a different beard configuration.
Yeah, it's a very different look. I think it's a more intimidating look if you want my take on it. And for this intimidation, he comes out and basically shouts down the women and mansplains to them.
Yeah, because everybody likes Sasha, and because he's the heel.
Yeah,
he has to come out and.
Yeah, he said, "No one cares about your women revolution."
Yeah, it's like they had to cement, the fact that he's a heel.
Yeah, he has to be a misogynist. He had a little bit of this before. It makes me remember the great storyline he did when he and Lana were separated for that
the
short
summer
period.
rain.
Yeah, like, oh, sweet hot summer, you're so sweet, so submissive. Like, that's a great little touch of that misogyny thrown in there. So he basically tries to talk the women down and say that he doesn't care whatever they're here out to talk about. It's about him, and he wants to talk about his feud with Roman Reigns.
And Charlotte tells him to shut the hell up or whatever.
Yeah, surprisingly enough, Charlotte and Sasha team up and they double drop kick him out of the ring. So I was wondering, like, they're leading them into a Hell in a Cell match, which is supposed to be like the match you have in a blood feud, but you're also making them like reluctant partners in the situation. Like, which way are you going with this story?
Yeah.
And
I'm surprised like Lana didn't get involved. Yeah. She's a wrestler, right? Kinda.
Yeah.
Sorta.
She doesn't really wrestle in her skirt as often, so I guess she didn't want to show the crowd what she's working with.
What she's working.
Yeah, she didn't want to show everybody what her Russian mama gave her. So they knock him out of the ring,
if you will.
Yeah. So Rusev tries to get back in the ring. Reigns ends up stopping the potential abuse on these two women. So that's the end of that segment. Next,
will we get a mixed double, a mixed tag team later on, Zach?
We would, but it didn't make sense for how they paired them off, but I'll get to that in a little bit.
We all get to that.
Yeah. Next segment is The New Day. Big E comes out
Don't you dare feel sour.
No, clap for your world famous 2-time champs and feel the power. Big E comes out with Booty-O's cereal that he's
inside of his fucking.
He's pulling them out of his tights, which is gross.
And even they were disgusted, like Woods and
yeah. But I'm
Kofi.
sure some of those fans at the side of the ramp, somebody ate those. But I don't even want to think about that. So they come out and they're giving their promo. There was a lot of like
bashing of Sheamus.
Yeah, bashing of Sheamus. But before they got to that, they were talking about how good Cesaro is saying he's
very good looking.
Yeah, he's very good looking. He speaks 5 different languages, and he is thick AF.
like okay,
pause.
Wow. I'm sure he's blushing.
All right. They've somehow with the New Day, they've managed to get like every internet meme or reference in their promos at some point throughout their run. This like the whole AF thing. I always thought that was weird from what time I first saw it. Like it's not that many more letters to say as fuck, but he is thick AF. The only thing they missed out is they didn't fit a low key in there. Like he's low key thick AF. But anyway, and then they turn to Sheamus and say, Sheamus on the other hand is hot garbage.
And
with
Kofi
visual
brings
illustration.
out an actual drawing of a
hot garbage
picture of
can.
hot garbage.
Yeah. So this leads us into a match of Cesaro versus Kofi. What they got like about Cesaro, I've been watching him wrestle from the time when he was on the indies as Claudio Castagnoli, and he used to
I like Cesaro. He deserves like a bigger push.
Platform. Yeah,
exactly,
because he was like on the indies, he had this thing like he was a very like crowd friendly wrestler, and like he would, in the middle of his match, he would just do a thing where he does like the Kanye shrug with his arms out, and everybody was like, "Hey!" So he's starting to slowly bring this back. He did that move a little bit in this match. Like he does it, and the crowd actually responds like, "Hey!" So hopefully they keep that, because that's a thing I missed from the indies. Sheamus is apparently on Facebook Live during this match because he doesn't care about his partner. Although you could just go back to the locker room if you're not gonna have his back. Like you don't have to be like handcuffed to this guy. So Kofi ends up stealing the win, and Cesaro and Sheamus are bickering once again. Next,
those crazy kids.
Yeah. Next, in the apparent and unexplained absence of Nia Jax, Bayley has basically stolen her gimmick.
The squash match.
Yeah, it's like, why does Bayley need squash matches? And it doesn't work for her because all of the jobbers that are supposed to be like these one-time wrestlers are all about Bayley size or bigger.
Exactly.
So it's like, and she doesn't have like convincing squashes with these people. She's like,
it takes a while.
Yeah, she's taking so much offense from them, and then she turns around and wins it at the last second. It's like, this doesn't make anybody look good, really.
I just look at this as like them just trying to like establish her, because she's not competing in any of the title matches and stuff, so they have to give her something.
It establishes her moveset, and that's all a squash match really does.
Yeah.
It's like, for somebody like Goldberg, that makes sense because he doesn't have personality or anything. All he has are his dynamic moves,
spears,
and his explosive speed and that type of stuff. It's like Bayley has more to her. Like her run in
hugs.
Yeah, her run in NXT was about her being happy and charismatic, and like the emotion that she had for the fans. She had her little like mini me Bayley, who was at all of her big matches and was her biggest fan. She had like a story, and these squash matches don't really establish any story. But
Well, until the very end when she's on the ramp with her little tube men and stuff, and all of a sudden,
yeah. So she goes to the ramp after her win, and then Dana attacks her, and then we see the immediate deflation of the wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man, and she's just laying under there, and it's like one of the saddest sights you could ever see is a deflated, wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man.
In every nation.
So the next segment was a
commercial,
little quick backstage commercial, basically, of Jericho talking about how R-Truth stole his payday endorsement, which I haven't seen an actual commercial of R-Truth for payday, so I don't know what
probably
you're
online
talking
or
about,
something.
but either way, this was just a stupid little thing.
He was on the phone talking to someone?
Yeah. Next was the Purple Rope Club.
The Prince Club?
Yeah, the Prince Division. Is Tony Nese and Drew Gulak versus Lindsay Dorado and new Cruiserweight Division star Sin Cara.
Big development. Is that a step back, step forward?
I guess.
Side neutral?
It's pretty neutral because whenever Sin Cara showed up on TV, there was no storyline reason for it, and he did not advance any story. And this is exactly what the Cruiserweight division is. It's a series of exhibition matches that do not have any storyline connecting them at all outside of the championship matches. But this was apparently an announcement that Sin Cara said he was entering the Cruiserweight division. Although, like, okay, you have other people who are cruiserweights that aren't being used, like Neville, except for the fact that they decide they want to put him in a tag team with Sami Zayn for some reason. But anyway, so Sin Cara is tagged with Lindsay Dorado, who is going up against Tony Nese and person Lindsay Dorado was partnered with, I believe it was last week, Drew Gulak. So this goes further to establish
mixing and matching.
This goes further to establish that there's no storylines behind these cruiserweights.
Which is why I was like half interested in this damn. It's like, well, like, so it's this pretty much is just say, look at these guys.
Yeah, there's no stakes. Awesome. In it. Yeah, it's like somebody's picking up their toys and just smashing them against each other. Like, why should I care about this?
These people, like, who are these people?
Yeah, this doesn't advance any storyline. At least they finally got two people teamed with each other who both seem like heels. That's the most sense this made, but other than that...
you got 3 hours to fill there, Zach.
Yeah, and it's for some reason that each week they want to make sure they have a Cruiserweight championship match or a match with the Cruiserweight champion and a Cruiserweight tag team match. I don't know why that's the formula that they've established, but whatever.
I'm trying to remember, like, was it this? I think it was this week where, like, TJ Perkins, like, had, like, some backstage thing. And
yeah, I'll get to that a little bit.
Yeah, he can't. Oh, yeah, we'll get...
Yeah, so, yeah, Lindsay Dorado wins the match with the Shooting Star Press. That's the end.
Yeah, if you say so.
Backstage, we see the debut of Mick Foley's flannel suit.
Looking sharp.
Yeah, he said it was in the works for months because...
Weight loss.
Yeah, they had to go in the... his tailor had to go to the far-off reaches of the Far East to collect these precious flannel fabrics. So Steph and Mick Foley are in the ring, and they approve the match of Sasha and Charlotte in Hell in a Cell.
Hayek.
Yeah. Hayek. HIAC. Because a lot of people say Hell in the Cell, but it's Hell in a Cell.
A cell. Damn it.
It doesn't make sense, though, even with that, because they refer to the cage as the Hell in a Cell. It's like, you just call it the cell. Because it's like saying ATM machine. But whatever.
Your OCD is showing.
Yes, we took that back in. it kind of takes some of the steam out of a challenge when you say, I have to get this approved by management.
But first I have to get permission.
It's like, you should just say it was approved backstage. Don't have a big thing to be like, yeah, that challenge she made didn't mean anything, but this, I'm making it official. It's like, okay, whatever. So that's approved. They also say Reigns and Rusev are going to be in Hell in a Cell, and an unprecedented third Hell in a Cell match on a pay-per-view. Rollins versus Kevin Owens. And that is...
See, I'd be justifiably pissed if I were Kevin Owens and that happens.
Yeah, it's like, Rollins didn't even challenge me for this match.
Exactly.
Why are we in this? And
how many chances are they going to give him to get that title back, man? Rollins keeps losing. He doesn't deserve a title match.
Yeah, even though he's not supposed to be the golden boy anymore, he's still getting repeated opportunities at the championship. But whatever. So Owens comes out with Jericho, and he is pissed.
His best friend.
Yeah, and so Jericho's saying, if you're just giving out gifts to people just because they ask for them, then we should have a private jet that says Team Chris and Kevin. And then Kevin Owens responds like, yeah, we should have a private jet that says Team Kevin and Chris. I just love that they're not acknowledging that they're disagreeing on this, but they keep going back and forth with the different top billings. Next, it says to Jericho, you never liked me, Mick Foley. And then Foley's like, what are you talking about? I got you your job in ECW. I showed Paul Heyman your tapes.
Didn't he say like he's hated him for 25 years or something?
Yeah, something like that. And he says that Foley is now on the list. And Foley's like,
you're on the list.
He's like, I started the list. I'm already on there. I was the first person you put on the list. It's like, well, you made it again.
I like that continuity.
Yeah. So Steph says that Jericho's going to be in a match with Rollins, and if he beats him, he's going to be added to the Hell in a Cell. So it's kind of trying to sow seeds of dissent in this team.
Yeah. Jericho called what he insulted Foley, called him like this guy or whatever, and Stephanie got all pissed. Like, this is a legendary Mick Foley. You show him some respect, and
yeah, Steph standing up for Mick Foley is one of the things they could definitely get rid of on Raw, because it's all leading up to something where she's probably
she's gonna betray him.
She's gonna betray him. Triple H is probably gonna pedigree him, and then she's gonna fire him.
Stephanie looking very attractive, by the way.
Yeah,
in her dress.
Yeah. It's just like her entrance when she comes out to that hood ass song, and she just like bounces with her arms out.
The my neck, my back.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a Rollins interview backstage. Nothing to say about that. The mixed tag team match is announced, and it's Rusev and Sasha Banks versus. Reigns and Sasha Banks versus Rusev and Charlotte. Which,
women and men.
But doesn't make sense, because it's like, didn't he just chastise Charlotte also, and she kicked him out of the ring? So they're going to talk about.
I just look at it like they're just trying so hard to make
Reigns
likable, because they want to like use some of Sasha Banks's like
star power
and rub off on him. Like the fans love her, they'll love him.
It does not work, and we'll see how that panned out in this match. The main event. I really am not really a fan of main event tag team matches.
No, I'm not either.
Because that was like a huge staple of SmackDown back in the day. Like SmackDown in the era that people didn't care about SmackDown. That was like why it was tune out TV. It was like, because you know the formula. Like, people are going to come out. There's two feuds happening. They're going to smash them together and have a tag team match play. Anyway. Next was, there was a commercial that they said, SmackDown tomorrow night is going to be Orton and Kane versus the Wyatts. It's like, that's a huge selling point.
Sign me up. Got my popcorn ready.
Yeah. Next we see Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas versus Enzo and Cass, which was like, hey, there's Curtis Axel. Which they made a point of the last time he was on screen. It said, welcome out, Mr. Irrelevant Curtis Axel. So apparently I didn't know it's apparently a real sports thing. The last person to get drafted is nicknamed Mr. Irrelevant, which is pretty
Yeah,
shitty.
in football.
It's a pretty shitty thing to call somebody.
Yeah, it's fucked up. It's how like you get drafted last, you're Mr. Irrelevant, but you don't get drafted at all, and you end up on a team, but you don't get that stupid designation. But whatever, that's football. Let's talk about
Yeah. So Enzo and Kaz come out. They do their little promo, and I feel like somebody backstage at WWE has at least close to the same level of OCD that I had, because they took off those mic sleeves from their like ring announcer mics that they have because they didn't look right. So they just have just a regular ring announcer mic, but they have like little leopard tape at the end of it, which is tacky to match their whole ensemble, I guess. So they do their little promo. But
you can't teach that.
Yeah, then the club comes out and they beat them up and say the games are over. So that interferes.
It's time to play the game.
Yeah, that interferes with the match that would have happened with the former social outcast members. So we go to commercial break. They come back and they say, we were supposed to have a tag team match. Bo Dallas is mad and he wants 2 more guys to come out there. So Sami Zayn and
random guys.
Yeah, Sami Zayn and Neville come out. And it's funny, on commentary they call them a makeshift tag team, but apparently they have been tagging together like on Superstars and those shows that you can only see on Hulu. But they've been tagging together on those shows for a couple of weeks now. But yeah, they just slapped them together, and it is a quick match. Curtis Axel loses, and Bo is disgusted with him, and they
as the audience is.
Yeah, so I guess they're
with everything.
Yeah, so I guess the story is that Bo is this he's changed his character into this dominant beater of jobbers, and Curtis Axel is not quite up to his standards, so he's gonna leave him behind, I guess. So there's something for your bottom of the card that you're, if you're interested.
Don't hold your breath.
Yeah. There's a confrontation of Charlotte and Lana. You say, you just step out of my husband's way. Rusev can handle this on his own.
Rusev.
Yeah. So there you go with that. You see Titus, the Titus brand versus R-Truth, because
were they fighting over the Payday sponsorship?
Apparently, I guess Titus was the one who was mad about the whole Payday sponsorship. Titus
candy bars, man, it's serious business. I'm more of a Snickers guy myself.
Yeah, it was just a stupid thing. So he made it a loss, as Michael Cole said, because Titus wants everybody to hashtag make it a win, but he lost, so make it a loss.
The Titus brand is not strong.
Yeah. Next, we have a little bit of locker room talk. Shout out to Trump and Billy Bush.
No pussies were grabbed.
No. The only pussy that was attacked in this incident was Brian Kendrick. TJ Perkins tries to give him a pep talk, say,
remember we used to drive and get the car. You used
to take me to wrestling training and
We played video games.
Yeah, when is the real Brian Kendrick going to come back? So he gets up and after they shake hands, and Kendrick tries to attack him, but it's thwarted by TJ Perkins. So Kendrick cowers on the floor. It's like, I guess the real Brian Kendrick's gone. Next, we see that the Raiders are in the building. Hey, said they're not watching Monday Night Football. They're watching Raw.
Exactly. Watching Raw.
Well, they're the only ones. Next is Braun Strowman. He wanted more competition. He wanted legit competition. Some would even say that he was requesting that they feed him more. So they bring out these 2 jobbers because, 2 jobbers is better than 1.
Is this the one one of the guys look like the Cowardly Lion from the fucking Wizard of Oz, or am I thinking something?
Like together they look like LMFAO, but apparently they were going by the
Party anthem in the house tonight.
Braun Strowman is gonna beat me up all night. They call themselves the Splash Brothers, Steven and Clay Splash. So they lose in quick fashion, and
I like it. What's the move when he just stacked them on top of each other?
Yeah, he does like a running power slam to one guy, and he does his reverse choke slam on top of him with
that was pretty nice.
Partner. He also pulled off a double drop kick on both guys, so that was a little bit of variation from Braun Strowman. So that was
if they want to have like a really like entertaining squash match, they just have like Braun Strowman or whoever just beating the living crap out of someone for like 10 minutes and just throw them around like a rag doll. It would be highly entertaining. Yeah. Sadistic and wonderful.
And if you want to follow, like, that's obviously a key to success. You want to take that $1,000 payday, as one of the jobbers said, and get tossed around.
What are you making a month?
Yeah, you get tossed around by Braun Strowman, and then maybe one day, a couple months from now, you'll get a shot at the WWE World Championship. But we'll talk about that later. So he gets on the mic after winning this match and says, "That's still not what I meant by real competition."
Yeah. Byron Saxton was scared.
Yeah.
Had the mic taken out of his hand.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to mention is a little tangent, but this commercial they kept showing during Raw, and I think SmackDown too, is this KFC Nashville hot chicken commercial. It's
sounds sexy.
The acting in this commercial, it's like a really bad porn, because this girl's just laying, like, this girl in these, like, I don't know what you call it, like rockabilly clothes, but she's like in this long skirt and she has these thick glasses and she's laying in bed eating chicken. Her father comes in the room like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "I'm eating KFC Nashville hot chicken, Dad." It's just a really corny commercial, but just the acting is like sub porn quality.
Do you think they're going for that, or do you think this is?
I don't think so, but I think watching it, that's all I could think about. It's like, I feel like there's like an extra 20 minutes they cut out of this commercial.
Hey, chicken and porn do go together.
And surprisingly, donuts do too, but
and
another story for another day. There was an early Royal Rumble promo. I feel like this is like the earliest they've ever like started talking about the Royal Rumble, which is
the road to WrestleMania.
Yeah, it's in January. So.
This is the whole big deal. As it is in San Antonio, and that's a big first time in 20 years.
Yeah, so I guess that's something to be excited. I mean, the Royal Rumble is my favorite pay-per-view of the year, but I don't like. It's kind of like teasing something like Infinity War from the Marvel Cinematic Universe
in 2018.
Yeah, it's like I want to see that more than all of these other 20 pay-per-views that are going to be before it. So stop teasing me with that. Anyway, they said they're going to be stars from Raw and SmackDown in there, so maybe 15. We'll see.
We will get to that. A gauntlet was thrown down. By,
yeah. A little bit of
Daniel
promotional challenge thrown out there later. Next we have the actual mixed tag match, that is Roman Reigns, Sasha Banks versus Rusev and Charlotte. Nothing much to say about this, but people were chanting for Sasha when Reigns was in the ring, and they were booing as well. So this did not win.
It happened exactly as you would expect.
Yeah, this didn't win over any additional fans for Roman Reigns.
I want the men to fight the women. That's the next step.
We're past that. That's attitude era stuff, and that's not a good look, especially when you have, I guess you have a couple of people who are formerly associated with the company running for public office, because that was a bad thing that people were able to use against Linda McMahon when she was running for Senate. And
why is it a bad thing? Explain it. You don't think that like Charlotte could like kick the crap out of like, geez, I don't know.
She could probably toss around a few cruiserweights, but it's like, what is the
or like Nia Jax?
Yeah, that would be exciting. That may be something they could pull off if when she was in NXT, she could fight a couple of masked cruiserweights and tossing them over the top rope and stuff. But
the women fight for the Universal title.
Hey, I mean, there's nothing on there that says men's championship. So there are men and women in the universe.
Well, why did it look bad? It looked bad because of the men beating up women, or
I just think this is supposed to be a family-friendly show, and a lot of families would kind of be turned off by that type of activity.
Too spousal abusey.
Yeah, and when we have record low viewing numbers as is, you don't want to establish anything that can lose more of those people. So I think
bra and
play it
panty
safe.
matches, bring them back.
Although on Twitter, Sasha Banks has been making a case for her entry into the Royal Rumble, which is like, how is that going to work? I mean, they've teased things like that before. They had the most recent one I would say was Beth Phoenix. When she was in the company, she actually entered the Royal Rumble and she eliminated Great Khali, and I think she was eliminated quickly after that. But
I love Royal Rumble because it's like, what is that? As soon as you touch the floor, you're out, and it's fun to like watch.
You have to touch the floor.
It's fun to like watch them like balance, like avoid the floor like it's hot lava and like.
Yeah, that's the best thing about because they always make a point of showing it now. Kofi's various attempts of avoiding his feet touching the floor, like walking on his hands.
And
one time he jumped on the announce table and hopped back over with the JBL's chair. And I think the most recent one, it was probably like the most devastating one. It might not have been the most recent one. It was maybe the one before that, but one time he was thrown out and he landed in Adam Rose's, like party posse, who none of them exist anymore. But, I think before that he was thrown out and like pretty much landed on his head, but his feet were on the steel steps outside, so he just like shimmied back into the ring from his feet. So I am excited for that spot in the Rumble, but I would like, because the thing that pisses me off about that though is that he would always pull off that move and get back into the ring in like spectacular fashion, but he was always eliminated within the next 5 minutes after that spot. Like, if you go back and watch any of those Royal Rumbles, like Kofi will do that spot and then be eliminated very quickly after. And like nobody even pays attention when he actually gets eliminated. It's like, oh.
Well, he did his trick, his one little trick, and yeah.
But it's like, if you're going to have him pull that off, let him be at least in the final 3 or 4 guys in the ring. Like,
he can only do it once.
Like,
exactly.
I would like to see one of the New Day actually go for a singles title. That would be exciting. I would like to see Big E, while they're still a team, you don't have to break them up. He could just decide, like, Big E's going to go for the gold, and they all support him in doing that. That'd be cool. But whatever. Next we see Heyman's response to Goldberg.
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Goldberg.
Yeah.
Goldberg.
So he says, Goldberg, you're not big, you're not bad, you're just next.
That's a nice video game promotion he did there.
Yeah, for this game that has like the worst graphics of any supposedly next generation.
The commercial, just looking at the way the wrestlers look, it just doesn't look
real. And it's like they showed the Suplex City commercial where it's like everybody going through this.
You see no gameplay footage.
It's like no gameplay footage. It's like, I want to play that game, but that's not the game you're actually selling at all. But,
open world.
Yeah, but whatever. We see the Emma vignette. She's taking some more Instagram shots, so we'll see more of that. Next is TJ Perkins versus brother of former WWE star Daivari, Arya Daivari. So I think it's a pretty short match, but Brian Kendrick is on commentary and he's just talking about the fact that TJ Perkins is, he thinks he's my friend, but he's not my friend, and I'm gonna win this championship, because if I don't win the championship, then I might be forgotten, and I might be kicked out of the company again. But, like, his whole thing, he sounds like Snagglepuss the whole time he was talking on commentary. It's like, he doesn't sound, like, intimidating or scary.
Stage left.
Yeah. I'm gonna win the championship even. I think the TJ wins this match. I can't remember exactly.
Who cares?
Because like even like the regular cruiserweight matches have no story, and this
it's all just about watching them fly through the air and do cool shit. It has nothing. Nobody cares about titles and stories and rivalry.
Yeah, the most storyline attention is paid to this championship feud, but even that is like struggling, and that's
he used to be my friend.
Yeah, they either need to add some more depth to that story or end it. So we'll see how they go with that. Steph is hinting that the three-way championship match, if Jericho is able to enter this match, will be kind of a handicap match. Like, oh, if you get in there, you know what to do, Jericho. He's like, yeah, I know. And it's funny that they play this off as like Owens doesn't know what's going on. It's like, why? What are you talking to Steph about? And he's just like, friendship. It's like, they're making it seem like, okay, Owens just wants this to be a one-on-one match. He doesn't want extra help. Or maybe it's that he doesn't trust Jericho and that he would try to get the championship for himself. I don't know where they're going with this, but in the end, it doesn't end up mattering. Yeah, I think that's what would happen. But
as we find out in the main event.
Yeah. So it's Rollins versus Jericho. I just think it was funny that Kevin Owens comes out to supposedly support Jericho, and it, like as Rollins is beating him up and is nearly about to pin him, he's like, "Chris, do better." It's like that's some great coaching. Do better.
Yeah,
so
I think so.
Yeah, Rollins ends up winning the match, and that means that Chris is not going to be in the Hell in a Cell match with the two of them. So it'll be a one-on-one.
Is he going to put himself on his own list?
Maybe. For losing this match, I'm on the list. They also announced at the very end that Goldberg is going to be live at Raw next week when they're in Denver, Colorado.
What could happen?
Yeah, because, the best part of the existence of Bill Goldberg is his mic work. So great to see Goldberg's going to be out to talk. Next, we have WWE SmackDown. It starts off with the Dolph Ziggler promo. We've seen a million of these at this point. He gets the "You deserve it" chant.
Why does he deserve it?
I don't think he does. But he got it nonetheless.
I'm here against the world. I'm here against the world.
It's funny. He talks about the fact that it's like, I didn't know if I was gonna win this match. A lot of people didn't think I was gonna win, and if you don't believe me, just turn on your TV guide and push the info button.
That was funny. I like that.
Yeah, because I think that, and the news got out about this a little bit before No Mercy, actually, that the little description for SmackDown was a career retrospective on Dolph Ziggler. So they were hinting at the fact that he was not going to be there. So that was an interesting behind the scenes little reference there. So The Miz comes out. He said he's
all black.
Yeah, I'm mourning the death of the IC title.
That was funny.
So he brings out the Spirit Squad. They have a handicap match.
I'm kind of sick of the Spirit Squad already.
I feel like I've kind of turned the corner. I feel like the first night they came out, they were really annoying, and I thought the balder one, I can't remember what the name
Mikey
was. Mikey, yeah, I think so. Or it might be Mickey. But he looked pretty bad in his outfit that he had when he came out, but like when he wrestled tonight, they look a little bit better, more in shape.
Yeah, so, Kenny and Mickey.
Yeah. So, Kenny, I think he could still have a career. I don't know about the other one, but they look good together as a tag team, and it seems like they're not going away.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting.
He's like they're like the toady henchman for the Miz.
Yeah, but it seems like they might be just entering the tag division on their own, so that'll be more interesting to see. So there was a replay during the commercial. They actually showed that another person has entered the Wrecking Ball Illuminati, aka the World Class Wrecking Crew, because during the commercial break, Kenny did a Wrecking Ball dropkick. It wasn't called, but you could see
the split screen. You could see him actually do it.
Yeah, kicking him through the rope. So that was cool. At the end of the match, Miz does a super kick on Kenny, and Morrow has, I guess I'm giving this the commentary line of the week. So, oh my God, you killed Kenny. And that was his call for the super kick, because it was the end of the match and Ziggler wins. So it was a nice ending for that. So the Spirit Squad and Miz end up jumping Ziggler, who is saved by Beauty and the Man Beast themselves, Slater and Rhino.
They just do this for people who need help, you know?
Yeah.
No matter what their relationship is.
Yeah. Captain Save-A-Bro. So it seems like maybe they're going to go forward with a feud between Slater and Rhino versus the Spirit Squad. Seems more appropriate for their characters, like two comedy teams feuding against each other. But that doesn't need the tag championships involved. They need to shift those into the Usos feud. But we get a Becky Lynch injury update. It's funny that they mentioned her injury was unrelated to in-ring competition. Like, what the hell was Becky doing? Like, what's the story with that? But who knows? So they mentioned again her title defense on November 8th in Glasgow, Scotland, Election Day. Smack down your early vote, guys.
Absentee ballot.
Yeah. So there's announcement by Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon that they are challenging Raw to a few Survivor Series matches. The rule of threes. So they want their top 5 guys from each show to face off in a Survivor Series, traditional Survivor Series. Yeah. Elimination match. The top female competitors have also been challenged, and the top 5 tag teams. And it's funny that Raw didn't really have a lot of tag teams, but they're starting to slowly sneak them in there, like
mush a couple together.
Yeah, it's like, okay, now all of a sudden Neville and Sami Zayn are a tag team, so I'm guaranteeing they're gonna be in that Survivor Series match. So yeah. It would be nice if they threw, since they don't have any storylines, maybe you should throw a Lince Dorado and Sin Cara from the Cruiserweight division into that match. Although they seem like they're segregating the Cruiserweight division, so probably won't.
They're not a part of the show.
Yeah, separate but equal. Next, it's funny that after this, he's like, oh yeah, JBL's like, we're gonna beat up Raw. We're gonna show them that we're the top show. I might even beat up Byron Saxton. It's like, JBL just can't let go of his hatred for Byron Saxton. like even across shows, he has to send that hate out there. But I was just thinking, okay, if these are parallel challenges, okay,
it would be Morrow versus Cole.
Yeah,
it would be
Otunga versus Saxton. 2 black guys show off and then the 2 color commentators. You have the 2 colored commentators, Otunga and Saxton. You have the 2 color commentators, JBL and Corey Graves would face off. So those are OCD there.
OCD.
Exactly. Naomi versus Carmella is next. There's a replay of a Nikki Bella interview from earlier. Nikki Bella was looking busty in that.
Like that note, dim titties.
She was attacked by Carmella.
Yeah, I can't have a Nikki interview without Carmella.
Yeah, it's funny. It's even on Talking.
Playing that card.
Yeah, it's funny because even on Talking Smack after the show, they were like, every time I come out and do an interview, she attacks me. So it's like, are you guys setting me up or something? So they mentioned that as Naomi was coming out, they mentioned that it's the 20th anniversary of the episode of Seinfeld where Elaine does her like little kicks dance.
Random.
Just a random reference. It was like, okay.
Okay.
It's like Morrow has some kind of pop culture almanac. And he's like, okay, here's the anniversary of this one thing from the 90s I can mention. What's some internet meme I can bring up during this match? I could say this person is treating him like Donald Trump treated Hillary's emails. I gotta make sure I get these references. It like has all these little checklist things.
The 25th anniversary of that episode of fucking Bosom Buddies.
Yeah. Like, oh, he kicked his nose so hard he's gonna look like Balky. Anyway, so there's an attack after the dance break. Nikki ends up chasing Carmella away because this is a quick match and it doesn't really lead to anything but the continuation of the Nikki and Carmella feud. But it was one thing I was thinking about as Naomi was on the top rope during this match. I always wanted to know, since I was a kid, they always show referees like, I understand what they're saying, get out of the corner, because you can get some kind of unfair advantage if you keep somebody at the corner the whole time. Or 5, I think.
5 count.
Yeah, but then it's like, whenever somebody gets on the top rope to do a move, the ref is like, this is so mad about this. Like, get off the ropes! We told you in the back, you're not supposed to climb the ropes. Like, what is the deal? Like, get back in the ring. And they always like yell at them before they do their moves. It's like, I never understood that part of the ref supposed story. Like, what are the actual rules that the referee is supposed to be enforcing? Like, understand
it depends on the ref.
I guess I understand if you grab the ropes during the submission, it has to be broken up. You're not supposed to keep somebody in the corner. You can't submit somebody on the ropes. You can't do a move that includes the ropes, like Tajiri's old move, the tarantula, which was a submission move, but he used the ropes while he submitted, so it would never end a match.
They're using the Dean Ambrose ref rules that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, he has some interesting ref technique. Next we see Jimmy Uso versus Chad Gable, and I just wanted to mention that the shoes that the Usos were wearing were the brightest shoes I have ever seen. Like, I couldn't even see any
neon
detail.
Glistening.
They were just glowing on their feet. And it's just interesting that Jimmy is wrestling right after his wife, Naomi, and he had, his shoes matched her outfit. So it was interesting. So it was a family shopping trip they went on before the show. So Gable was going, I guess he was giving Jimmy a taste of his own medicine because he was going after, Uso's arm. But in the end, Jimmy Uso ends up winning with the roll up when he gets help from his brother on the outside. Who comes in and puts his feet on Jimmy's butt as extra leverage. This is a different variation on like how people will put their feet on the ropes to get the extra leverage, but he actually has his brother help. So that was a nice bit of cheating for the win.
They're heels.
Yeah. Next we have our second reference of locker room talk in WWE. This was like the one that's more accurate to actual locker room talk, because like
they're in a locker room and they're talking.
Yeah, but even the subject matter, like so Mojo Rawley's like, yeah, I had these 3 chicks last night. Where were you, Zach? It's like, you probably playing with your Ghostbusters Funko Pops or something. He's like, well, it's a limited edition. It's like, okay, limited edition, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. But, so the Ascension just appears in the corner.
Hey,
I guess
I remember that.
I guess this is their gimmick, that they're just stalkers. And they're stalking, the hype bros, because they're just like, how long was you in here? You was watching me change? like you should have seen them all that time. There's 2 huge guys. One guy huger than he was before, just standing in the corner. But moving on, AJ is coming out for his victory speech, and we have See, Morrow, he throws so many lines out there that he always is in contention for the line of the week.
More opportunities. He really
yeah.
wants it. He tries hard.
Yeah,
he knows about this.
He puts so many extra nominations in that ballot box.
He wants that designation every week from you.
Yeah, so here's another line, which it may top the previous one about, oh my God, you killed Kenny. He says, the three-way match at No Mercy was hotter than a Samsung Galaxy Note 7. I feel like that one was like, okay, that was even more topical because the South Park thing was just like, okay, you can say that anytime. Yeah. But yeah, I was like, all right, there you go. So AJ's talking to the fans, dogging them out, saying,
I beat Dean Ambrose and John Cena
at the same time. You all live vicariously through me. And so he's saying that he wants to be charitable because he's a giving champion. He's going to give an opportunity tonight. And
to the turtle face.
Yeah, he brings out your favorite and mine, the Ken Bone of wrestling, James Ellsworth.
Yeah, I don't think James Ellsworth has looked at Jennifer Lawrence's fucking
butthole,
and
which
Jennifer Lawrence thinks that he's a rapist.
Yeah. Although she should really focus on the people that facilitated his seeing of her butthole.
Exactly.
He didn't steal those pictures himself. Although maybe he did. Maybe Ken Bone has been like, he's like the Kaiser Sose of the internet. Like everybody thinks this guy from Chicago.
That was on yesterday, The Usual Suspects.
Yeah. Maybe he's the real man behind the man.
Yeah. And he's also, he had some thoughts on the Trayvon Martin thing that didn't make me happy, but
Ken is really boning himself now. But
anyway.
So James Ellsworth comes out and he's so excited about this opportunity, and JBL says it's a Cinderella story. This is a terrible and great line all at once.
So he looks weird.
Yeah. So Dean Ambrose actually comes out and he's like, I guess he's making his case for why he should actually have this opportunity. And it's funny that AJ just tell him to get out of here. He used like every phrase he could imagine of telling him to leave. Like, get out of here, beat feet, go to the dressing room, take a shower, scram. Just like, okay, how long is he going to go with this? So then Daniel Bryan comes out, interrupts, and he says, AJ wants to, or Dean Ambrose wants to wrestle for the title. Yeah.
And Daniel says that, well, you can't be here to watch James Ellsworth and AJ fight or wrestle, but
yeah. Instead, you can be the special guest referee. So then he immediately takes the shirt off of the referee who's standing in the ring.
The tight shirt.
Yeah. Then Ambrose is like pulling everything out of his pockets. He has like super tight jean pockets. And he pulls out Tic Tacs. Yet again, another locker room talk related reference for the show. Because, Tic Tacs are what you need for a sexual assault. Apparently that's
essential.
That's in every potential rapist tackle box. So another anti-endorsement for Tic Tacs. Like, they need to really give these guys a break.
They didn't ask to be dragged into this.
Yeah, exactly.
Election.
Instead of Payday being highlighted across both these WWE shows, Tic Tacs really needs to get some exposure out there. R-Truth can really turn it around for them.
That's so refreshing.
That's exactly what they need. So James Ellsworth versus AJ Styles with Dean Ambrose as the guest referee. Said the AJ versus the man who was bad to the Ken Bone, James Ellsworth.
That was kind of stupid.
Yeah, very stupid. And I like James Ellsworth. I like his run around the ring as he was being chased by AJ. It's like a run where he's like flailing his arms behind him. Nice touch there. He says that James Ellsworth will be a crying Jordan meme after AJ's done with him because he couldn't stop with the references. Like
hey, when you got a nice gimmick, you gotta go with it.
Yeah, you either go with it and then you jump the shark and then completely run it into the ground. That's the moral Ronaldo approach. There's a "Let's go Ellsworth, AJ Styles" chant in the audience. I like that.
It isn't. Who are you rooting for?
Yeah, let's go Ellsworth. The next, there's a pinfall, which would have obviously ended it after, because I think AJ does the Styles clash to him, where like apparently James Ellsworth is not used to being in this position, so he tucks his chin down, the little chin that he has. He tucks it down, which in this movie you should actually lift your head back so you don't land on your top of your head. So he actually takes like the most brutal Styles clash ever, like a straight pile driver. Looked like he could have broke his neck, but apparently he was okay. So there's supposed to be a 3 count, and Dean counts to 2 and just stops. Then he starts taking calls, and AJ continues to beat up on James Ellsworth, and Dean is going outside and taking selfies with fans in the audience.
Tease.
Yeah, exactly. Because I would be upset about that if I was Renee
Young. If people were talking about that, there was like some picture of her like all pissed off.
Yeah, it's like
some mime.
Yeah, but anyway, so there's he comes back in. He decides he's done with trying to pretend to be a referee, so he does the Dirty Deeds DDT on AJ Styles. He pulls James Ellsworth over. Right.
Yeah, there was a little. I like that hesitation where he's like looking back and forth.
Yeah, so he pulls him over for the pin, and he does the count, and AJ actually kicks out.
Yeah.
So he pulls him up and does it one more time, and then does a fast 3 count, and James Ellsworth wins. It's a real Cinderella story indeed.
He defeated the world heavyweight champion.
Yeah. So next, the show is not over because this would have been a great main event, but it wasn't, because once again we needed to end the show with the feud of the century, the one everyone's talking about. Randy
By
Orton,
everyone we mean no one.
Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt, in a feud that feels as fresh as the day it started. So there's a backstage thing with Orton and Kane where so Kane says, "Randy, you got issues." Haha. Kane telling Randy he's got issues. That's funny.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So AJ's mad backstage. They announced that James Ellsworth is going to be on Talking Smack later to talk about his
with Nikki Bella
great win. And then we have our main event: Bray Wyatt versus Luke Harper. Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper versus Randy Orton and Kane. Nothing. Bray Wyatt does a little rambly promo, and then they have their tag match where
you are just a man.
Yeah. I'm a god, blah, blah, blah. So they have their match, and
Sister Abigail.
Yeah, they're working over Randy Orton, and when Randy is going for a tag, Kane is on the apron, then derp, lights go out, derp, they come back on, and Kane has disappeared. He's been replaced by Luke Harper. Oh my god, what happened to Kane? Could he possibly have been vanished out of existence, or is he just underneath the ring hiding?
This big giant guy quickly stammering under the apron.
Yeah, so that was the end of that match because Orton couldn't get the tag, and he gets hit with the Sister Abigail, and 1, 2, 3, it's over. So that's the end of SmackDown. I watch Talking Smack. I don't always watch Talking Smack, but
I like Talking Smack sometimes.
They really drew me in with that tease of James Ellsworth being on there. So I was really interested to see what was going to happen with that.
He's getting a bigger push than most of the regular wrestlers in the company.
Yeah, he's really on the upward track. He's got better upside than Curtis Axel. That's for damn sure.
Was there like a comparable kind of like jobber hero that the fans gravitated towards like in the past, or is this like the first time? Because like Gilbert,
I'm thinking Gilbert, but he never got a push. He was always squashed. I'm trying to think, because
repeat jobbers.
Everybody I could think of was like, they were like real guys and got turned into jobbers. There was this guy who used to be on WWE's version of ECW. His last name was Olsen. I'm trying to remember. But he was a repeat jobber, and they kind of built up some story behind him. He was always trying to win his matches, and they showed how scrappy and plucky he was. And he had a lot of moxie. And
white guy designations.
Yeah, so, he was a guy they tried to put over a little bit back in the day, but that was, it's not something they do a lot, but it's interesting.
What did James talk about on Talking Smack?
He just talked about how excited he was to get this opportunity and that he actually won the match. They never mentioned the fact when they were talking to him, it was like, I can't believe you won this match. They didn't mention that he didn't do anything to win the match. And then Daniel Bryan announces that next week on SmackDown, James Ellsworth is going to get a championship match for the World Championship. So that's interesting. And if you hadn't had enough of the Wyatts, after James Ellsworth and Nikki Bella were off screen and Daniel Bryan went off to do some official business, they derped into the scene. Yeah. And they took over and said, Renee, run. It is like the lighting they had on Renee. It was like really mysterious. She looked good in that lighting. It was kind of like nice, contrast for her skin, but she left and they took over the show and they give some rambly promo for 2 minutes. Like, I like the fact that Bray Wyatt was kind of in Bray Wyatt mode and just was talking about his rambly stuff that he normally does, and like Luke Harper was kind of being more of a real person. He was like, I don't like the fact that on Talking Smack after the pay-per-view you didn't talk about my return. You talked about Daniel Bryan's stupid baby. He actually made some use of his little time on the show. Like, Bray was just doing his regular thing. I was like, I like that.
I agree with that, though.
Like, I returned and all you could talk about was a stupid baby. So I like that touch.
Stupid baby, nice.
Yeah, so that's the feud that we're actually leading up to. We thought that the feud was really going to be between Daniel Bryan and The Miz, but it's actually between Luke Harper and Daniel Bryan's baby. Nice. Daniel Bryan's baby Kale.
He's gonna get back in the ring at some point.
He's going to train his baby Kale, and Kale Bryan Kale Danielson will be the next WWE Universal Champion.
Nice.
About 18 years from now. But yeah, so that's the end of SmackDown. And
better than Raw.
It was better than Raw, but their placement of matches needs to be adjusted. They really need to find a better place, aka the garbage can, for this Orton Wyatt feud. Because it's so weird, because Orton is probably like his most over he's been in a while, but he's in this feud that nobody cares about. It's like, you could do something better with Orton. You could have put Orton in all these positions you put Cena in with this AJ and Dean Ambrose feud.
Yeah, he would easily just fit right in the middle of that.
Yeah, because like everybody would be getting cheers if that was the case. You have Cena with the mixed reaction, AJ who's getting cheered, but he's working to get his boos, and Dean Ambrose was getting his cheers. It's like, you could have three people who are getting really good loud reactions instead of John Cena, who's going to be here some days, not here others. It's like, but hopefully this just ends soon. Anyway,
Dolph Ziggler, Randy Orton feud.
Hey, I wouldn't mind that. Or maybe Miz and Randy Orton, because that's something I could see ending a show if for some reason they had to shift the schedule. That could be a main event feud, and they actually have something they could build from with that, because the Miz's one and only WWE Championship reign was at the hands of Randy Orton when he cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase on Randy Orton, which was the cause of the famous Miz girl meme, where the little girl was in the audience and had like this look like she was possessed by a demon. She was so upset with Randy Orton losing the championship to the Miz. So they could reference that, and in this current time frame of memes going viral every other hour, they could bring back the Miz girl meme, and they could run wild with that, because I think that girl actually won a Slammy that year for like best crowd reaction because it was like so prominent on screen. But we'll see what happens going forward with all these stories.
When is Hell in the Cell? Hell in a Cell?
I think there's actually like a little bit of a break. I think it may be like week after next, because
isn't there like a pay-per-view like every week?
There has been, and I think this is the first little gap, because we don't have one tomorrow, which is like, oh, thank God. Because there's like so many back to back. I can't imagine like being like a regular UFC fan in addition to WWE, because they literally have shows, like they have their Fox shows like every other week, and then they have their
FS1, and
then their 200 whatever on pay-per-view on Saturdays. It's like I would never watch anything else if I was following all of this stuff. Anyway, was there anything else that stood out to you from the week that you wanted to mention before we wrap up?
Lots of not a whole lot of like title stuff on SmackDown, but a lot of really funny bits, a lot of entertaining stuff on SmackDown. I just think that in terms of like pure like enjoyment, entertainment, SmackDown is kind of like doing things a little bit better right now. But in terms of, I guess, in terms of like the sort of like the long term wrestling, in terms of like the rivalries and like, like whatever, I guess I would have to give it to Raw, because you've got the whole.
So.
Yeah.
It's funny, they kind of.
The seriousness of the business, I guess.
Yeah, there's more serious stuff on there. But it's kind of funny because they have their parallels in some senses. Like, they both have their big feuds that are exciting for people. Like, I would say, I guess it's kind of weird. I guess the World Championship feud is like the main one that people are excited about.
There are better feuds on Raw, honestly.
Yeah, but I would say they both have like huge duds as well, and they need to get rid of them on both sides. Like on Raw, it's Rusev and Reigns, and on SmackDown, it is Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, which it's weird because they each have like one guy who's better than this feud and another guy who the company is trying to force down their throats on each side. Like
they need on SmackDown, they need another male wrestler. They need like a Cesaro, or somebody like that.
And there was like, I guess this
not fucking Jack Swagger.
Yeah, it was like they were teasing the fact that we're gonna poach somebody from Raw, and it was Jack Swagger. It's like that's the problem though. It's like I like Jack Swagger as a personality. Like when he was doing his original gimmick, which I feel like they're never gonna get back to. But even if they just stopped having him talk and just had him wrestle, they could do something with him. But they decided to bring him in the mid card. It's like, why do you need to enter somebody in the mid card? I feel like if it doesn't work out for him on the main event, then you try that. But they brought him in to be nothing. So it was pointless. Like, they should have gone after a Cesaro or Sami Zayn, who's not being used well at all.
Because like, what is the Miz gonna do? Now he doesn't have the Intercontinental Championship. Are they just gonna have the whole Ziggler Miz feud, continuing with him trying to get the title back, or will they try to like use the Miz like for something else? Or
I hope that after this run, like a lot of people have been saying, like looking back, the Miz's Intercontinental Championship reign has been like the most relevant and exciting reign in like decades. Like, because it has been a nothing championship for so long. He like made it prestigious, like while getting himself over, and like it was kind of, it's funny because there were a lot of a lot of comparative stories on both Raw and SmackDown, because it was like Rusev for a short period of time and they abandoned it. It was like, we don't need a new champion. I'm your champion. And I like that angle from him. It's like, I'm the only one with a male main title on this show, and we don't have a world championship anymore. I should be the main champion. I like that angle. They should have run with that a little more.
And like the U.S. championship belt, like when Rusev had it, like it meant something a little bit more. It wasn't just the sort of throwaway.
Yeah.
I mean, Roman Reigns wanted it and got it.
Yeah, and now it's going to probably be nothing again.
Yes, exactly.
But it's like, after all that work that Miz did to get that title over,
100 and whatever days.
Yeah, he should probably get elevated. Like, with this brand split, the rosters being so thinned out now, you should probably put Miz in a title contention for the main championship on SmackDown. Like, that wouldn't hurt anybody. That would be exciting to see. So, I want to see them go in that direction with it, but I guess we'll find out. Anyways, I think that's pretty much it for the show. So, did you want to give out your deets of how people can reach out to you on the social medias?
The social medias, at Anthony Hoffman on Facebook and Twitter, and Tony Hoffman Chai, CHI, on Instagram.
All right. Don't forget about that Tinder. Look for him on Tinder.
I've actually I got kind of bored with it. I'm no longer on Tinder. The dream is over.
Breaking news, everyone.
Yeah,
Anthony Hoffman no longer on Tinder. If you see an imposter Anthony Hoffman, do not swipe right. It is a trick.
Somebody trying to use my handsome face.
Yeah, it is a trick. Don't be catfished by someone who's going to just lure you into the woods in a clown costume.
Oh, clowns. Have you ran into any clowns, Zach?
Not yet, but I'll tell you one thing. If I see a clown, his nose is not going to be the only thing that's red.
Pale-faced bastards. They're scaling back on Ronald McDonald because of this.
I mean, he wasn't really being used that much anyway. They should definitely bench him. I guess it's time for a push for Grimace. Shout out to Grimace. Anyway,
if you're Happy Meals.
If you want to reach out to me on Twitter, you can reach me at Zach from Chicago. That's ZAC from Chicago. I'm on YouTube as well at ZH Radio. And you can follow the podcast on YouTube at Frustrated Grads. And you can tweet us at Frustrated Grad. And also, I put this out on Facebook, on the Facebook page. Go to our Facebook page as well, facebook.com/frustratedgrad.
Oh.
Yeah, if you want to have your questions or comments on the wrestling of this week read out on the podcast, email us at frustratedgrad@gmail.com.
We have the answers.
Yes.
We have the meats.
We have the meats.
Biggie.
Yeah, unlike Sway, we have all the answers. Anyway, that's it for this episode of The Frustrated Wrestling Fan. Thanks for joining us, and that's all you get for today.